everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction. Before I start my presentation, I would like to share an interesting fact with you. Has anybody here heard of a term called hand cranking ever? Anyone? No? Okay. So basically, when vehicles had started getting manufactured, आज से 100 साल पहले 1880s में 1900s में जब vehicle manufacture होनी start हुई थी, तो initial design of the vehicle had a shaft, and you had to stand in front of the vehicle and rotate it manually. And that timing had to be perfect. You had to put in a lot of strength to ensure that the vehicle starts. And I mean, now if you fast forward to the present time, you have a phone, you download an app, you press a button on the app, and suddenly your vehicle starts, right? So if hand cranking had to be done today, I think one very big advantage would be that if we did it 3-4 times a day, we could skip the gym. I mean, that's the only advantage. So I think the way OEMs have started manufacturing vehicles has come a very long way in the last 100 years. आज से 100 साल पहले हमें एक बंदा चाहिए होता था गाड़ी स्टार्ट करने के लिए, और आज हमें शायद ड्राइवर भी नहीं चाहिए गाड़ी चलाने के लिए. This is the power of IoT. So all these advancements that have happened in the field of manufacturing, a lot of that credit goes to IoT. Now let's talk about what is IoT. So layman terms, IoT जैसे हम आइज से देखते हैं, कुछ डेटा अब्जॉर्ब करते हैं, टच करते हैं, टेस्ट करते हैं, स्मेल करते हैं, and we gather that data from our surroundings. IoT is just like a nervous system. So it's a network of sensors. It absorbs data from its surroundings and then it broadcasts the data onto a network. So that's what IoT is today. And at Roadcast, we basically हम vehicles में या machinery में वो nervous system implement करते हैं. ये हमारा core काम है. अब in the last panel also बहुत सारी discussion हुई थी around electric vehicles. If you think about it, I feel that electric vehicles in itself, like they themselves are an IoT device on wheels. Most of the components, I would say 90% of the components in that vehicle is electronic. 100 साल पहले again जब vehicle बननी start हुई थी, 95% components उसमें mechanical होते थे और शायद 5 या 10% components उसमें electronic होते थे. But अब वो जो transition धीरे धीरे उस product में हो रहा है, today when we talk about a vehicle, it's 50% electronic and 50% mechanical. Even to operate the mechanical parts, you need something electronic. So that's the role of IoT today. So my topic for today is how do OEMs employ IoT to make mobility more efficient, right? So I would like to talk about what happened in the last 7-8 years and how market में एकदम shift कैसे आया. 2015-16 की बात करते हैं. उस time पे भी चाहे कमर्शियल व्हीकल्स हों, पैसेंजर व्हीकल्स हों, OEMs IoT को एक लग्जरी की तरह देखते थे. अगर कस्टमर ने मांगा कि मेरी गाड़ी में आप GPS लगा दो, तो OEM अपनी डीलरशिप के थ्रू इंस्टॉल करता था. ट्रक में किसी ने मांगा फ्यूल सेंसर या डैश कैमरा लगा दो, तो वो इंस्टॉल कर देते थे. बट नाउ इन 2023 IoT is no more a luxury, it's a necessity in every vehicle, because OEMs have realized that IoT से सिर्फ हम कस्टमर के लिए उस प्रोडक्ट का एक्सपीरियंस एनहांस नहीं कर रहे. At the end of it, they are enhancing their product itself and the service levels also. Now, how does that happen? I'll give you an example. Recently, we worked on a very interesting use case where one of our OEM customers had a problem with some trucks which they had supplied to one of their customers. And उन particular trucks में एक problem आता था कि उसका suspension brake and certain parts were wearing out very frequently. And they did not know what was wrong with the product. They could not tie it back to a supplier. They could not understand what was the problem. So when we installed our IoT and we did a study for them, we realized that particular set of drivers, what they were doing, and it's a very common problem in India. गाड़ी चलाते चलाते न्यूट्रल पे डाल देते हैं और फिर न्यूट्रल पे गाड़ी चला के ब्रेक करते हैं, जिसकी वजह से ब्रेक खराब होती है, सस्पेंशन खराब होती है, गियर पे प्रेशर पड़ता है क्योंकि आप सडन गियर चेंज करते हो. तो ये सब OEM को जब दिखा डेटा, they realized that with this data they can practically reduce warranty claims for their vehicles. They can tie it back to the user of the vehicle. They can say कि यार आपका गाड़ी चलाने का behavior सही नहीं है, the way you are operating the vehicle, that is creating that damage. So now OEMs see IoT as more of a necessity. Also in the last panel, Mr. Javin was discussing how insurance telematics plays a huge role in today's time, right? So what we've seen insurance, now there are models which are coming up, which is a usage-based insurance, right? These things and these models are not possible without IoT. Till the time we are not getting real-time data, we are not analyzing that data over a period of time, how can we identify कि इस ड्राइवर ए को मेरे को ज्यादा इंश्योरेंस चार्ज करना है और ड्राइवर बी को कम इंश्योरेंस चार्ज करना है? Based on the driver behavior, these are the data points that can actually make a difference in a business model. So I will just quickly share some slides and just take you through what we actually do at Roadcast and how is our technology transforming certain industries. I'll give you a quick overview. These are some of the parameters that IoT is being used to monitor, like we were talking about real-time tracking. So where is the exact location of the vehicle? That's the most basic use case, I think, today. But along with the location, there are, I would say, 100 और पैरामीटर्स है जिनको ट्रैक करना इंपॉर्टेंट है. जैसे कि किसी भी एरिया में स्पीड कितनी है. अगर आप कोई भी ऑयल एंड पेट्रोलियम वाले जितने भी यूज केसेस होते हैं, वहां पर एक बहुत स्पेसिफिक स्पीड लिमिट होती है प्लांट के अंदर, कुछ हैजर्ड्स होते हैं, तो उन सब का डेटा भी रियल टाइम में कैप्चर करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. ईवी की बात करें तो ईवी का सबसे प्राइमरी डेटा पॉइंट है कि उसकी बैटरी की हेल्थ कैसी है. सम टाइम बैक वी वर हियरिंग अबाउट batteries exploding in bikes, two-wheelers, right? The problem is वो होना possible है क्योंकि यहाँ पर temperature बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ जाता है, लेकिन अगर वो बढ़ रहा है temperature, is there a mechanism to identify it beforehand? And that can be done through an IoT device. So these days, all EVs, it's a mandate by the Indian government also now that any EV needs to have an AIS 156 approved BMS which connects to an IoT device. So अगर आज कोई भी एक EV deploy हो रही है market में, उसकी बैटरी का रियल टाइम डेटा OEM, यूजर और सर्विस सेंटर्स को जाता रहता है. अगर कहीं भी उनको लगता है कोई हैजर्ड होने वाला है, तो वो जीपीएस डिवाइस रियल टाइम में उस डेटा को पुश करता है एंड इट एक्चुअली प्रोटेक्ट्स द यूजर फ्रॉम दैट हैजर्ड. When we talk about other IoT solutions such as fuel monitoring, these days I think the way diesel prices are rising in India, I think diesel and petrol, we are talking about EVs and hydrogen because we know that this will eventually become unaffordable as a fuel. And but आज के टाइम में अगर हम लॉजिस्टिक्स की बात करें, लॉजिस्टिक्स इज अबाउट 14% ऑफ आवर जीडीपी एंड अ वेरी सिग्निफिकेंट कॉस्ट इन एनी ट्रांसपोर्टेशन बिजनेस. आज कोई भी प्रोडक्ट है, उसका जो एक सिग्निफिकेंट चंक ऑफ द कॉस्ट है वो लॉजिस्टिक्स की वजह से है. जिस दिन फ्यूल प्राइसेस बढ़ता है, हम मार्केट में सुनते हैं कि टमाटर का प्राइस बढ़ गया, आलू का प्राइस बढ़ गया. दैट इज बिकॉज द फ्यूल प्राइस इटसेल्फ इज अ वेरी बिग हेफ्टी कॉस्ट इन दैट प्रोडक्ट. सो हाउ डू वी इंश्योर दैट इफ द फ्यूल इज बीइंग यूटिलाइज्ड, is it being consumed appropriately? कहीं पर इसमें पिल्फरेज तो नहीं है, क्योंकि हम जो आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं, एंड मोस्ट ऑफ यू वुड अग्री विद दिस, इन इंडिया राइट नाउ देयर आर सर्टेन प्रॉब्लम्स एंड इट्स नॉट, you can't blame anybody for it, but that problem is there. Today a transporter would give his driver or his supervisor say 10,000 rupees to fill fuel in the tank, right? He will fill the fuel for 9,000 and keep 1,000 in his pocket. So it's a general practice which is happening across the industry. But for the transporter, at the end of the year, when they reconcile all their costs and when they see what was that pilferage, it's a humongous cost. And if I share some numbers with you, for a fleet of 1,000 trucks, you'll be surprised. So fuel monitoring has become a very essential part of most of these transporters. आजकल हर टैंक में they want to install a fuel sensor and see कि मेरा कितना फ्यूल यूटिलाइज हो रहा है, कितना फ्यूल मेरा वेस्ट हो रहा है, कहीं जितना फ्यूल भरने के लिए पैसा दिया उतना फ्यूल भर भी रहा है कि नहीं भर रहा टैंक के अंदर. What I mentioned earlier was about real-time data from the vehicle's ECU. Now this data is the most critical data for any OEM today. With this data, they can even link back failures to their part suppliers. If they are able to identify कि मेरा एक बैच ऑफ व्हीकल्स में किसी एक कंपोनेंट में हमेशा इशू आ रहा है, they can actually say कि इस प्रोडक्शन बैच की क्वालिटी खराब है क्योंकि मेरा वो वाला कंपोनेंट गलत सप्लाई हुआ था. Previously, this was not possible because you could never tie that issue back to anything. They would just call the vehicle to your service center, replace the part, or understand कि क्या repair करना है, ठीक करके, and they would send the vehicle back to the market. Also, a lot of times, the way the customer drives the vehicle is not identified, and because of that, there are false warranty claims. Maybe, so I have a friend, and I mean, I'm not proud of what he did, but because he wanted to basically check the start stop button on his vehicle, he pressed it about 100 times in a minute, and that just it went off. And he took the car to the service center. They could not identify it. They said, okay, it's under warranty, maybe something went off, and they just replaced the part. So with this technology, you can actually identify all these parameters and say that, okay, this is your fault and we will not claim the warranty. We will not give you the warranty claim for it. This is a new trend in telematics or IoT, I would say. Today, because passenger safety, driver safety, and driver behavior are becoming very important parameters for any business, dash cams with AI and AI ML are the hot topics for any discussion today. So we enable these fleet owners to implement AI-based solutions in their trucks or cabs or whatever, any kind of vehicle. अब इससे क्या होता है, पहले तो हम रियल टाइम में ड्राइवर का बिहेवियर मॉनिटर कर पाते हैं. ड्राइवर स्मोक कर रहा है, फोन पे बात कर रहा है, ड्राउजी है, स्लीपी है, all these parameters are recorded by the camera automatically in real time, and the driver score is automatically generated for that person for the day. So we can actually identify that if there is a potential accident that is about to happen, we can immediately notify the admin beforehand and tell them that this driver is not fit to drive, please replace him. And likewise, there is one solution which actually identifies if the vehicle is cornering very hard, changing the lane very fast, or is it tailgating behind another vehicle. So all these parameters can be identified automatically by the machine and notified to the admin. So yeah, thank you.